Hey guys, welcome to my channel where I talk about anything related to comics, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Justice Society World War II. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and I'm going to give my overall thoughts on it. So for those of you that don't know, Justice Society World War II focuses on Barry Allen's The Flash when he accidentally runs back in time and ends up in World War II meeting the original JSA members, which include Jay Garrick's Flash, Hourman, Black Canary, Wonder Woman and Hawkman. So let's talk about the good. So starting off, I thought each character in this movie were done very well. Each of them had their own arcs, and I really liked specifically the fact that they actually kind of debate with themselves if what they're doing is worth it, because they kind of find out that this isn't a spoiler by the way, but they find out that no one actually remembers them in the future. So they all have this kind of like debate around them, like, is what we doing really matter? Does this count? Do we do any significance? So I like that, and it kind of shows a character, because even though they know that it's not remembered, they still do it because they know it's the right thing to do. I thought it was just like really cool, and it kind of gave like each of these characters a mutual thing to kind of worry about. Speaking of the characters, by far the best character in it happens to be the main character is Barry Allen's The Flash. He's kind of new to being the Flash. He's only been the Flash for a few years, and this is the first time he accidentally time travels. So it's really good seeing, because he doesn't know what he's capable of. So it's pretty cool watching him find out what he's actually capable of with his powers, what he can actually do, and kind of see him try to fit in with this like older Justice League, because these guys are like the OG Justice League. It's pretty cool seeing him try to fit in with them, and I just thought Matt Bomer as well did an amazing job as voicing Barry Allen the Flash, and I really like the arc he goes through in this as well, because even though the biggest problem in the movie is him fighting in World War II, like he's stuck in World War II, he doesn't know how to get back, but he also he's got a lot of personal issues going on, and you kind of find out at the start that he's really struggling to make his life balance work as both the Flash and Barry Allen. He's struggling, he's late for work all the time, his relationship is struggling as well, and I really like that, because it just kind of made this like he's essentially a god with what he can do. It just made him feel more like grounded and down to earth, and kind of helped you relate to him, but obviously just by giving him like normal human problems, which is why the Flash is actually one of my favourite DC characters. I also thought Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor's relationship was really well done in this. It actually gave me a lot of like vibes to the Wonder Woman movie by Pat Jenkins, which isn't a bad thing, so I love that movie. But I really got the vibes from it, and I thought like the two of them had really good chemistry, and even though it is just animation and stuff, like the kind of facial expressions they have each other, the way they talk to each other, the way their demeanour changes when they're with each other, it kind of shows you like how in love they actually are, and it didn't feel forced at all. It felt like it fit very well, and it actually included both their arcs in the film as well, which I thought was awesome. And personally, I just really enjoyed seeing the two of them. They're actually quite nice to watch on screen, and just kind of made you happy. Steve Trevor was also like really cocky and funny, and I really like seeing that as well. And the way he tries to like constantly flirt with her while they're in like the heat of battle is just kind of funny, and seems like something that Steve Trevor would actually do. Also, the animation in the movie as well was spot on. I just thought it looked really fluid, and whenever there was whenever like the characters were moving, they were fighting, it all just looked really smooth, and I never really noticed any like lag in between it. Like, there was never like any like dodgy animation scenes. All just looked really slick, smooth, and especially in the action scenes, which just looked amazing. And I love how each character was designed. It kind of they all looked like very classic Justice League, like kind of 1950s. It actually reminded me a lot of like the 1950s DC art, which isn't a bad thing at all, because it's just like very wholesome to look at. Even though it's quite a dark film, the artwork is just like very wholesome to look at, and it just looked really good. And like I said, the character designs in it were really simple yet effective, and worked very well for the film. Speaking of the action scenes in the movie, I loved the action sequences, especially at the start, because you see like these like superpowered beings going up against like Nazis and stuff. I just thought it was really cool, and I loved the World War II setting as well, because you actually got this idea that no one was safe. Any of these members could get killed at any point, and I really liked that, because it wasn't just like your predictable superhero thing at the start, oh, the heroes are going to win. There was a lot of grey areas, there was a lot of kind of moral dilemmas in it, and I really liked that. And like I said, no one was safe, so you're always on edge whenever there was a fight scene going down. There was also a lot of great twists in the movie as well, and I really liked that, because they made a lot of changes to some certain characters and stuff, which at first it kind of knocks you back a bit. You're like, whoa, but it works really well in the context of the movie, and it actually meant for a lot of great action sequences as well. There's actually one character, I don't want to say who it is because it is a spoiler, but there's like one change they make, which means for this really awesome scene later on, which I thought was just great in my opinion. Finally as well, the voice acting in this movie was superb as well. I really enjoyed it. I feel like each character bounced off each other very well. Like I said, a lot of the characters had great chemistry together, and Matt Bomer, especially as the Flash, was awesome. I thought he just done a really good job as Barry Allen. He came off as kind of like the awkward yet confident kind of nerdy guy. I thought it worked really well, and I actually really want to see more of him voicing the Flash. Because we all know Matt Bomer is quite big in DC. He plays Negative Man in Doom Patrol, and he's voiced Superman before as well. So when it comes to main gripes of the movie, my biggest gripe is actually the character of Jay Garrick as the Flash in it, the kind of original Flash. I felt like they could have done a lot more with him, because you see him interacting with Barry Allen a lot, but I feel like they could have done a lot more of that, because there's nothing like kind of meaningful behind it. It's just like, oh, you're the Flash, I'm the Flash. That's kind of cool, but I feel like there was never that like Flash family dynamic like in the comics. I know obviously it wasn't the focus of the movie, but I thought it would have kind of maybe changed it up a bit, and it would have been really cool. And I just kind of wish that Jay Garrick had a bit more of an arc. He's kind of the only character who didn't really have an emotional arc. It was all a lot more physical with him, which was fine, but I wish we had kind of a more emotional thing with him, because you don't really see how he reacts to being forgotten or anything like that. And I feel like when he kind of always had an answer to everything as well, which felt a bit kind of like convenient, because it'd always be like, oh, how did this happen? He's like, oh yeah, well, this is how it happened. He kind of knew a lot about a lot of stuff, which kind of felt a bit convenient. But apart from that, like, it was fine as a character. The voice acting was fine, but I just felt like they could have done a lot more with him. And while there was a lot of great twists and turns in the first two acts, the third act felt very predictable, and I just kind of felt like it just kind of went in that typical kind of way it always does at the end of a superhero movie, where it's like a live action or animation. It just kind of felt like they could have done a lot more with the ending, and I feel like it kind of drifted a wee bit away from that World War II setting, which I thought was really interesting at the start. It wasn't a bad ending at all, but it was just like kind of very predictable, and you just kind of knew how exactly it was going to go, which it worked in the movie, but I felt like they could have done a lot more, and they could have maybe stepped it up a bit. But yeah, that's my main gripes of the movie. So overall, while I do have my gripes of the movie, I do think it's one of my favourite like DC animated movies. But also a bit of context in that, I've not really watched a lot of the more recent ones. I kind of stopped watching them after I was like Batman and Son, so I haven't watched any really after that, apart from Justice League Dark Apocalypse. Well, so this is me getting back into it. But yeah, I think it's one of my favourites, definitely. My all-time favourite being Batman Under the Red Hood. But yeah, it's definitely really good, and you guys should definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. I picked it up on Blu-ray just a few days ago, and I watched it right away, and genuinely, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I thought it was amazing, and I personally really enjoyed it. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that subscribe button, and also let me know in the comments if you watched the movie, and if so, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And also be sure to check out my other videos if you haven't already. And if you enjoy my content, I also have a TikTok as well, where I actually do daily videos on that. I've been actually a bit more like kind of active on that recently, because there's a lot you can do on it. So I'll leave the link to that in the description, and also my Instagram as well. So like I said, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.